Voastre aici, suntem cu toții împreună pentru a ne bucura de această nouă bijuterie pe care editura Timpului Nectare o oferă teologiei românești, aș încerca să spun, și anume această carte scrisă de către profesorul Sebastian de la Universitatea din Oxford. Cred că pentru majoritatea dintre cei care suntem aici, profesorul Sebastian nu are nevoie de o prezentare minuțioasă. Știm cu toții cât de importante sunt, în primul rând, descoperirile pe care domnia sa le-a realizat și, pe de altă parte, tot ceea ce a scris, a cercetat și a publicat în legătură cu spiritualitatea siriacă și în vederea împlinirii acestui gol destul de important care există în gândirea noastră teologică legat de creștinismul Orientului Mijlociu, pe care, prin intermediul lucrărilor domniei sale, suntem pe punctul în România de a descoperi, putea să spunem că nu le redescoperim, ci chiar generația noastră descoperă acest frumos și profund univers.
Recording in progress.
Pentru a nu lungi cuvântul meu, aș dori să-i dau cuvântul profesorului Sebastian, care ne-a făcut onoarea și bucuria de a fi împreună cu noi astăzi online. În urmă cu câțiva anișori, cred că era prin 2016, dacă nu mă înșel, profesorul Sebastian a fost cu noi fizic aici în România și atunci a avut o prezentare foarte interesantă legată de rolul Maicii Domnului în spiritualitatea siriacă și după aceea influențele acesteia în gândirea teologică a părinților bisericii. Dear Professor Sebastian, we welcome you here in Timișoara for the third or fourth time. I remember that a couple of years ago you were with us in person, and we were very happy to hear a paper that you presented to us on the role of the theology of Our Lady, Mother of God in Syrian spirituality. Now we would love to hear a couple of words from you related to this new book that we published in Romania, Universul Părinților, Sirieni. And I hope you can see a part of us. I'm here.
Yes, thank you.
And there is a bunch of people here, quite lots of people who are looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, and it was such a joy being with you in Timișoara and the others. Whichever year it was, I'm very bad at knowing which year, what happened in. But anyhow, that was a great pleasure. My wife and I really had a wonderful time. Your wonderful hospitality. Well, I'm not quite sure how to start this because whether to go back a long way or whether to just go back to the prehistory of the book. Perhaps it would be helpful to go back a long way. The book was originally published in India. Now that may seem surprising to many people, but in Kottayam, in Kerala, that's right down in the southwest part of India, there is a research institute called the St. Ephrem Ecumenical Research Institute, which was founded by a remarkable man, Father Jacob Randall, in I suppose it's the early 1990s. I had known him for quite a long time previous to that, even before he went to Paris to do a doctorate on a liturgical subject, Syriac liturgical subject, and then he went on to do a postdoctorate period in Germany, and was able to make very good contacts with all sorts of people, and from the first he was very keen to fund a center for the study of Syriac in Kerala, because traditionally the Syriac churches in Kerala, which are very numerous. There are about over 5 million from the Syriac traditions, and more than that actually. But they're divided up since, sorry to say, the European presence in India. There are now 8 different churches of very different sizes. And the problem today is the loss of this close link with the Syriac heritage for various reasons, which I won't go into. Anyhow, when Father Jacob got back to India, he immediately founded this institute and instituted a 4-year cycle of conferences. And I've been to all but one. There's one in September, which unfortunately I'm too old to go to. But these conferences started out very small, but they always had a European presence, and they became more and more international as time went on. And the last one I went to was most impressive, a large number of people from Europe, America, and elsewhere, from Ethiopia. And so it was a wonderful occasion. One is wonderfully looked after. Father Jacob got very good architects to build the buildings. They're ideally suitable for the Indian climate, which is very humid. And he's built up a library, and they have their own publications. These publications started off as correspondence courses for a taught MA degree. And they have at various times, and this is still the case now, they have a link with the local university, state university, the Mahatma Gandhi University in Kottayam. So they are, as it were, an institute of an Indian university, but they're otherwise they're completely independent. And they have this MA course, which I helped design the course, and I've written quite a number of the course books. And this particular book, which is now translated into Romanian, started out that way. It was one of the course books to introduce students who had some knowledge, background, but wanted an overall view of Syriac literature. So I thought that one way of doing this would be to have a rather summary guide to the main writers, just a little bit about them all, and a bit about the background and different genres. And I was very keen to have a section with excerpts from these writers so that readers, students could find out for themselves what sort of literature there was available. Because for various reasons, in Kerala, despite the Syriac churches having a Syriac tradition, there's very little local knowledge of the literary tradition, as opposed to the liturgical tradition. So that really is the background of this book. It's gone through, I think, you have in Romania now probably the 3rd edition, or the equivalent of the 3rd edition. It was taken up in America by the Gorgias Press. I think they've only done 2 editions so far, I can't remember. But the Gorgias Press has published quite a number of these things published originally in India. The benefit of having them published in India is that they're very cheap. Whereas if you have anything published in the West, it's very expensive. But there is a downside in that it's very difficult to get hold of things unless you actually go to India. So if you want to get cheap copies of, they have a large number of publications now, very good ones. It's worth going to this conference in Syria in September, which alas I shall be at. but I'm sure they'd be delighted to have visitors from Romania. And it's always a great experience because, especially at the opening, you have bishops from all the Syriac churches. It's very colourful because they have a rather gaudy pink, violet, yellow rose, and it's a wonderful sight. And the hospitality is wonderful, and the site is wonderful. It's a quite unique experience. It's unlike any other conference. So that is really the background to that book. I don't know what further you'd like information about the background, and perhaps there are questions people would like to ask, or I'm happy to do try and do anything that you would like.
Thank you very much indeed, Professor Sebastian for your presentation, and it's very interesting. I think our edition is somehow unique.
It is, you're right. It's an updated one, yes, of the updated latest one from India, I think, if I remember right.
And for us it was very interesting to discover the depth of this Syriac spirituality through that chapter of the book, which is related to the prayer of the heart and the purification of heart. And I was wondering if you could tell a few words about this concept of heart and purification of heart.
Yes, thank you. This is a very central theme in many Syriac writers, monastic and non-monastic, of Syriac spirituality. And basically it goes back to the biblical text where the heart is the center of the person, the center of the intellect as well as of the emotions. The division that we, at least in the West, are familiar with of the intellect and the brain and the emotions and the heart, that actually is quite a late division. It's said to go back to St. Bernard in the Middle Ages. In the Syriac text, the heart is also the center of the intellectual faculties. So it's the basic center of the person. And that's a very big biblical concept. And it's also done in Greek texts, of course. So the cleansing of the heart, perhaps it's easiest to start with St. Ephraim. St. Ephraim has his own particular theological vision of the spiritual world. He's, of course, inheriting the biblical viewpoint, but he actually speaks more of the eye of the heart rather than the heart itself. And it's this eye of the heart which needs to be kept in a state of purity, cleanliness, if it is to see the aspects of the spiritual world that are around us, both in nature and in the biblical text. And so his ideal is what he calls the luminous eye, the eye that's perfectly clear. And in one of his very beautiful poems on Mary, the Mother of God, he speaks of the two eyes in the world. One is that of Eve, which can't see properly, and the other is of Mary, who can see properly, and so he controls.
Your image is freezing.